today's message, slow down.
Nice.
Not because you're falling behind, because you might finally be catching up to yourself.
Let's chat about that today on the Wandering But Not Lost podcast. Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper. And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson. Well, welcome back to the Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where we wander with intention and align with clarity. This is episode 352. And you can find our show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. We do have a free download today, people. Shocker! That we're calling the 7-Day Presence Practice. It's actually a really cool guide because it's super simple. It's an easy guide that has 7 reminders of the small actions you can take to reset and reframe your day. And as I was putting that guide together, it calmed me and actually refocused me just actually writing the words for the guide. So I do recommend downloading this guide. It really is no big deal. They're all very short and simple things because, as we'll talk about today, you don't need to spend hours doing this reset. You just need a little bit of a jolt, right? And you can grab that over at wanderingButNotLost.com. Let me put that little thing up. Over at wanderingButNotLost.com, just click the download link right up there in our main menu. You can download that absolutely for free, and you can start working on it today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and go ahead and leave us a couple 5-star reviews. Well, just one would be fine. You don't have to leave a couple. So just want to do that on your favorite podcast channel, or leave a comment. Make sure you hit that notification bell on YouTube. So here's the deal. If you've ever felt like life is speeding by and you're just trying to keep up, I'll tell you, I have felt like that a lot lately. As a matter of fact, this past week, I was down with the flu and forced to stop. It is weird when you are just forced to stop. And, there were a few days of haziness where I didn't really even think about how I had stopped. But once I started feeling a little bit better, it was a strange sensation that came over me because I haven't really been in that situation in a while, right? So I realized just how much I really kind of need to have a reset once I started feeling better. And not a big one. Like I said, these are small intentional things. It's presence reset. To reset your presence, a chance to see again, to feel again, and to actually be again. So that's what we're diving into today, the power of presence and how to reclaim it just one moment at a time.
And I love that message in the intro of talking about how it doesn't have to be overwhelming to make a shift. And that's what we're really going to focus on. We have talked about this in other podcasts about little micro movements, little simple things. Because here's the deal. We already live in a culture that glorifies busyness, especially here in the good old US of A. If you're not rushing, it means you're not trying, you're not giving it enough effort. But what we don't talk about is the cost of that to us. I mean, when you think about it, I feel like that has been my life, Matt.
I know.
Rush, got to keep going, got to keep making things happen. We're constantly moving, constantly doing, and that's not really living. That's just managing. And you're skipping over the magic of that moment in the pursuit of some future done that really never comes. Like you're always chasing it. I mean, I feel like how many of us feel. I know I have felt like that and been working on it so much in the last couple recent years of finding that delicate balance. And it really is a delicate balance of shifting, because if you've lived many, many years, don't have to talk about how many of those years, right? Almost birthday boy.
Yeah.
But you just don't overnight. I mean, maybe why not? Why can't you just overnight decide that you're going to, shift and change the way you live? So, because when we rush, we disconnect from others, from our own creativity, from just calm and stillness. And we live up here at the surface of things. We never get really deep. The deepness and what you really want to hear comes when you slow down and you're still and you're quiet. But presence, which I really see as being in the now, that's what brings us home, because we're never really home when we're busy working on what do I need to do? It's the next thing. It's the next thing. You completely skip the now moment, the presence. You skip right over it, and that's what keeps you in that loop, right? And it reminds us of what actually matters. If we can just slow down and find that stillness And that's why we want to share a couple of those ideas with you today.
Yeah, so here's the reframe. Presence isn't passive, it's powerful, and it's not about doing less necessarily, although it could be. It's about doing one thing with your full attention, giving your whole attention to that. Nature's always been my teacher when it comes to this kind of stuff. And, trees don't rush. I love to garden, and I love to plant something small and watch it grow. I'm not one of those gardeners that likes to have instant garden. I like to plant the small plant and then really nurture that and see how it actually, comes to life.
Like your grape vines?
Pardon me? Yeah, exactly. It's funny you should say that, because the little grape stems are starting to come out there already. So it
was just a little tiny plant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a lot of examples like that, but it's so true. Rivers don't hustle, mountains don't multitask. When you spend time outside, like just walking, sitting, and noticing, and that's really the key. And I've always talked about this, that you don't have to look very far to see something really amazing in nature, no matter where you are. Not necessarily out in the forest, but even if you're walking down the street, in the gutter, for crying out loud. I mean, there's so many things that you can notice when you're actually looking, right, and paying attention. Something shifts when you do that. You remember what pace feels like. I mean, real pace, right? So I'm actually really craving that, because I have been doing this whole sickness
and cooped up.
Yeah, totally cooped up. And so I'm really craving that this weekend. And now that we're feeling better, my sweet pea and I are just going to head to the park over the weekend, just the two of us and a couple of chairs, no agenda, probably take a book. No agenda, and just the intention to observe, just to throw those chairs up under the shade tree and just sit there. And that's really presence in action. I mean, because we're planning to go do nothing. We're planning to go be present. And sometimes you have to do that, right? Because presence identifies clarity. And you're able to really focus in. It's a connection, and really even joy. Just thinking about doing that, because I kind of got this in my head yesterday, brought me joy, just thinking about it. So, you have to kind of let yourself go and get into this. And when you do, it can be a little bit life-changing. And you don't need to be in the woods, like I said, to actually feel this. You just need to breathe. You need to pause and ask a question like, what if I just stopped? What if I just stopped for a second? If you're going throughout your day and you're feeling like everything is kind of, getting ahead of you, ask yourself that. What if I just stopped right now, just for a second? Not put everything on hold for an hour, just stop and start to refocus. So when that clicks, you're really not behind. You're just not actually there yet. So you need to jump in and do that.
All right, so let's get practical and share a couple more real simple ways to practice being present, because presence, that's a tough word to say.
Yeah, it is.
Being in the now isn't about perfection. It is about practice. So here's the first one. The 5 senses reset. This is so easy. Just pick one of these. You don't need to have them all, or they'll be in our show notes, and find something that resonates with you. So see, hear, feel, smell, taste. When you're out and about, just wherever you are, just name one thing you can either see, hear, feel, smell, or taste. Be open to what am I sensing and see what comes in. It will instantly bring you back to the now. It could be anywhere, right? And so that's a really easy reset. And it's kind of a pattern interrupt. So what we're talking about is get out of the mode that you're behind your computer, or you're doing a task for work, or you're in that rush of next, and stop and get up and maybe just walk outside. You don't even have to go out for a walk. Walk outside of wherever you are and ask, what am I sensing? See, hear, feel, and then just be aware of it, because now you're in the moment. The next one is... Can I
give an example of that? This is really interesting. I was talking, every Wednesday, my wife and her teaching partner go out to lunch, and it's just fast food because they don't have time to do a lot of other stuff. And they were talking, she was kind of complaining last night, or whenever that was, whenever Wednesday was, I've lost track of all time. She was kind of complaining about just like the food and all of that kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, not only is, I'm not going to condone fast food restaurants, but let's just face it, we all do it a lot, or some of us do it more than others, right? And I think to myself, you go get that food, you're jumping in your car, you're driving in your car, you're throwing down the cheeseburger, you're having some fries, you're drinking a Coke or whatever you've ordered. Do you ever stop for just 1 second and appreciate anything of what you're eating? I mean, just think about that for a second. Or if you're in your car and you have your coffee, travel mug with you, are you just drinking the coffee? Are you thinking about, wow, this coffee really tastes good? You know what I mean? That takes 2 seconds to do that. Just appreciate what you are actually enjoying at the particular time. It enlivens that experience. So So the point here being, this can happen anywhere, anytime, any place.
This intentional thing about eating or drinking is very powerful, and I want to share something I have started doing, and I've been doing it in the last week, and it's kind of a morning ritual. I work with my AI on adding a few other little things that I wanted to do just over some conversations I was having with my AI Echo, and the first one of like 7 little micro movements, little rituals that I'm doing in the morning, and I'm about to talk about the next one, which is breath. But this one, to your point, was drink a glass of water, and I've been putting some Celtic salt in my delicious salt, and I put it in, and I get this cold water, and then what it is, it's almost like blessing the water, but it's to your point, it's like I'm focusing my energy just by holding the water and saying this, and it's great to just drink water with lemon. I put some salt in it, sometimes lemon also, and drink it with intention, like it's nourishing you. Yeah. It's very simple. I've been doing it every morning, and it's crazily powerful. Then I do the next one, which is the next one we have for you here today, which is just a 1-minute breath break. Now, there's 2 ways. In our show notes, we have what's called the box breath, which I love this one. This is basically really slows you down. So set a timer if you have one of those watches, like the Apple Watch or whatever, or you don't even have to set a timer. Just do it for 3 or 4 times, whatever feels good. So a box breath is breathe in for 4. You count for 4. So it's 4 by 4. In for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold it for 4, and repeat 2 or 3 or 4 times. The other one, the one I've been doing after I drink my water, and this first thing I'm doing is get up, I drink this water, then I do this next breath, which is just 10 breaths where I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out, and I have a little mantra that I'm saying. So all it is just being focused on breathing, all right? Yep. So you've got the sensing kind of reset, 1 minute breathing, doesn't matter what it looks like, just focus on your breath, not breathing and thinking about what I have to do when I stop breathing. Okay. I mean, we never stop breathing when I stop my focused, intentional breath work. Okay. All right. The next one is present prompts. This is so awesome. This is actually great for journaling prompts. I have a lot of those too. So here's a great one. What in this moment do I need to know? What is this moment asking of me? So anything that's happening, even if it's kind of something that's a little off-putting, you can stop and be present by saying, what is this moment trying to teach me? What is it that I need to know? Love it. Quiet, see what comes in. I did some of that this morning. Okay, what would happen if I slowed down right now? Which is interesting because your brain might go, that part of you that's constantly in that state of creating is, doing tasks is going to be, well, you get behind and da-da-da-da-da. It'll continue with that. And that's what you're trying to slow down so you can have this other one of like, wow, you'll really actually maybe get some insight and have some balance and be present, right? And then, of course, Matt has done a ton of these. Number 4 easy way to do the reset and practice it is with micro movements. We do talk about this all the time. We have tons of shorts. If you go over to our YouTube, Instagram, even TikTok, there's tons of them on simple micro movements and things that you can do. But this doesn't have to be complicated. You do not have to recite, remember. It's as easy as movement creates momentum. So standing up and stretching, standing up and breathing, standing up and going outside and walking around for 2 minutes, and just being present is all you need to do. And I think it's important because I sit in front of the computer a lot when I'm working from home days. If I'm not out in the field, which today I'm going to be out in the field a lot, and I'll be able to, but even when I'm out in the field, if I can find time to stop, which is a great thing, and not always be going on to the next thing, the next task, and just take a minute because I'll be able to see something that's not inside of my home office. That's where you can really find that presence. Okay.
Absolutely. So here's the truth. You don't find presence, you actually create presence. So you have to be focused on actually doing that. And it's not that hard to do. We've talked about a lot of the ways you can do it today. And the more you practice it, the more it changes how you actually experience life, from the way you listen to the way you lead, and actually to the way that you actually rest as well, which is so cool. I talk about rest a lot. It's interesting. I think a lot of people, like we said, you're motivated and you're told and you are indoctrinated into the whole world that if you're not busy, you're a bum.
You're
right?
not productive.
That's not the case. It really just is not the case. So what's your challenge today? Well, choose presence. We haven't already run that horse right into the ground. Even if it's just 60 seconds, look around, breathe in, notice something you usually miss. So easy to do. You'll be surprised when you start looking for those things. There's going to be a million of them that pop up in your day, and let that moment be enough. You don't have to do more than that. So just remember that this is simple stuff. And that's what we try to do all the time here at WBNL, is just show you that it doesn't take a lot to get you refocused and reset. So remember, you can find all the show notes to this episode over at WBNLpodcast.com. This has been episode 352, and you can grab the link to the download over there as well. As a matter of fact, that we're talking about that download, let's just go ahead and take a peek at what that download looks like so you can get an idea. It's a 7-day presence practice, a simple daily prompts to help you pause, reset, and reconnect. And I'm telling you, the word simple could not be more accurate in this particular situation. This is also a little bit of journaling. I left a place that you can actually put your reflection down on what you have, kind of experienced as you're doing that. It's for 7 days. And the first day, the 5 senses reset, which Jan talked about. That's in there for you. We have the 1 minute of silence. That's an awesome thing. No music, no scrolling. Just sit and breathe for 30 seconds, or 60 seconds, because that would be a minute. That's how you calculate a minute most of the time. Nature noticing, I like that one. Simple task movement. So once again, just focus on the thing you are doing. Whatever you're doing, focus on it, and kind of give it a little bit of appreciation too, because that's a big part of it. Number 5 is the presence prompt. Number 6 is the gratitude glance, which I love that one. We are big on gratitude as well. That fits so well into this topic. And then number 7 is the wandering pause, about just going out for a walk with no agenda. So go grab that download actually over at WBNL, wanderingbutnotlost.com. Go to the download link right up in our top menu, and you can download that download today. All right. So until next time, everyone, I want you to get out there and wander with intention, align with clarity, and be in the moment. Find your presence, and we'll see you next week.